Hi everyone, welcome back to my Animal Crossing New Horizons series. This is part 66. Last episode we went ahead and decorated Cherry's house, which you can see right here. And in this episode we are going to continue decorating the rest of my island. I've actually gone ahead and played this game a bit offline and made some smaller changes. But as for decorating a huge area, I think I'll go ahead and decorate a small cliff that is in front of Pashmina's house. I'm actually pretty excited about this since I do have some newer designs that I definitely want to use. As for today's episode, I decided to go ahead and play this game around 8 p.m. in the evening. Just because it's so rare for me to actually play the game around this time. I usually tend to play it on or around 12 to 1 p.m. when you have the sun up, so it is pretty bright. But I think the evening time in this game definitely looks super cool. As for the mailbox today, we did have a couple of mails, but I'm not really having anything significant. So I think we can go ahead and check out the resident services building to get our bonus Nook miles. Right here, the first thing I do is check out the recycling box, which I tend to see many people skip. Recycling box does have some really good items and some rare furnitures that you'll be able to find. So definitely if you don't check it out at least once per day. Also, those items are completely free, so if you don't want to use them, you can still kind of sell them in Nook's Cranny, and that would definitely give you some bells. Right here, I did check Nook's Top. I'm not going to check Nook's Shopping since I'm able to kind of access it through my phone. So I'll be doing that later. Right now, since we did complete resident services building, there's one more thing for me to do before we move on with the decoration. That is, in this case, checking out Nook's Cranny. Here we are. I'm hoping I have some new furniture to buy. In my case, I don't really bother which furniture it's gonna be. If I don't have it in my storage, I just tend to go ahead and buy it. Now, if you do have a theme for your island like I do, you might think that having some furnitures which are not kind of going well with your theme might not be useful. But in the future, if you are going back and rechanging your theme, these items might actually help. So I would definitely recommend you all to go ahead and buy the furnitures in case if you don't have at least one copy of it in your storage. That way you'll be able to have access to all of these items when you actually need it. The next thing I wanted to do was go ahead and try to find the message bottle. In this case, it's just me running around the beach to kind of find it. Usually it tends to be in the right side beach, but there are times when it is on the other side. Now, unfortunately, right there, I actually lost a very rare insect. Hopefully, I'll be able to find it once again. Anyway, I did find the message bottle, and it's once again the Scarecrow DIY, which I already have. I guess I'll be selling this one in Nook's Cranny. While starting my decoration, the first thing I did was come right here. This is right next to the museum. It's an area that I have decorated quite a few episodes ago. And I realized that I never had a tree right here and definitely wanted to have one. In this case, I did go with a cedar tree. Usually when I have to do something like this, I tend to do all of these changes offline. But since I did see this while I was recording, I'm just going to go ahead and make some changes here. I also need a really good item to keep here. I think I don't have any in my pocket yet, but maybe I'll be able to find an item that I can actually keep right there. I do definitely have some really good DIY recipes, so maybe I can actually go ahead and craft one of them and keep them in the space. But of course, I decided to go ahead and change up this path right here. If you see down below, I have the same path pattern, which is something I didn't want to have. So I did go with the dark brown path, which is a newer one that I downloaded a couple of episodes ago. I think this one looks way better than the previous one. I've definitely seen various islands where people have just used a single path. I guess to kind of show that it is a main path that goes to everyone's house, and used other kinds of patterns around the path to make it look good. This is something I've been thinking a lot about, and I definitely want to try it out in my island as well. Right now, if you didn't know, I already have around 5 different paths that I've used on this island. Maybe when we are going back to redecorating certain parts of this island, I might actually come back and try to have a same path for the whole island. Anyway, that's on decorating this path right here. I also decided to go ahead and remove this shrub right here, thinking I might be able to use another item in its place. In this case, I switched it up with the stone tablet. Now this is actually the same stone tablet which you might have seen me kind of place right next to the heart-shaped pond. I decided that I wanted to have a different design for that area, which by the way I do have a couple of items in mind for it. Probably I'll be going ahead and using a different item over there. So the stone tablet will be right here. I think it does fit well rather than having a shrub over there. I also definitely want to make sure that I do change up some items here as well, right next to the log stairs. Right now I just have a garden lantern and a couple of glowing moss, which I think I actually overused. I actually ran out of glowing moss and I've never been able to actually find the island where we can actually get these. So I'm kind of struggling with it. Maybe I'll go ahead and remove a couple of them which I use right here and reuse other items that I'll be able to kind of craft from the DIY recipes I have. In between decorating, I was able to find another new recipe. This one is water flooring. I think it's pretty nice. I mean, if you're having a room which has a theme of beach, I think that would actually work well. As for the tree itself, I will let it grow, and once it grows, I'll go ahead and add a couple other items around here. For now, I'm just gonna go ahead and do what I usually do with all of these trees. Let me add a couple more patterns around it. Hopefully it does not stop the tree from growing, which accidentally has happened before due to different items I've used around the tree itself. But that's all the decoration on that area. Ooh, alright, Kiki is actually out. It's been so many days without talking to my villagers that I definitely have to start doing that again. But here we are. This is the area I'll be decorating today. It's a pretty small cliff, but I do have an idea for this one, or a design that I definitely want to try out. Unfortunately, I do not have the item that I kind of want to use. Maybe I'll be able to use the pyramid instead of that item and then replace the pyramid on a later stage when I do find the item that I need. I remember the only thing I did in this cliff was go ahead and plant that bamboo tree. Maybe I'll be able to add another one as well. But the main design for this area will consist of having a stone path that is leading up to the other side of the cliff. I think I definitely have to start with the pyramid itself, kind of, place it in an area where I need it to be and then work around it. In this case, I'm just going to go ahead and place it at the end. Now that I have placed the pyramid, I definitely want to start working on the stone path right here. I'm also planning on having a chair or a log bench at the end right next to the waterfalls to have a secret place for me to go ahead and sit down. I think that actually looks good. Now I didn't actually push the pyramid completely to the edge, and the main reason for that is I want to surround it with flowers. Like I said, pyramid is not actually the right item to use right here. Once I do have the right item, I think you'll be able to see why I planted all of those flowers. But until then, this pyramid is just gonna be a substitute. Well, now that I do have the stone path, I think I can finally go ahead and plant some flowers and add some more other items. Thankfully, I still have all of the different fences that I crafted offline. I think I crafted it in the last episode, and those are still right here, which is pretty good. They'll definitely last me for this episode, but once again offline, I have to go back and craft some more. Right here, got another balloon gift. This time it's actually clay, which is not really an item that I want to have. I mean, I think as far as the balloon gifts go, getting iron nuggets or clay or stone are like the worst of them all. Even if I do get a furniture item, it's better than these three items. But if it is a DIY recipe, I am super happy. I think DIY recipes from balloon presents are pretty special. After all, they are depending on the different seasons in which your game is, and you do get some of the rarer ones. But let me know which gift that you do get from the balloon present that you really like. Right here, let me go ahead and plant another bamboo tree. I actually have a lot of bamboo shoots with me, and I definitely do not want to use them up. I think you have couple recipes where you do need bamboo shoots to craft them. So having a couple in my storage will definitely help. As for the sitting area, I used a hammock over there and extended the stone path to kind of reach it as well. But for the end right here, I'm just gonna go ahead and add another barbed wire fence. There we go. The next thing to do is go ahead and plant a lot of flowers. In this case, I have yellow cosmos here, which I think I'll go ahead and plant. Usually I tend to mix up different flowers to make it look good, but in this case, yellow cosmos is the only thing I have on me, so I'm just gonna go ahead and plant them. I think I need a couple more, but let's see if we can actually fit all of them. Last one right here, and there we go. So we do have enough flowers. That is pretty good. As for the end right here, I might actually use the fake tree. I don't really have any other item that I think would actually fit in this area. I could use a evergreen ash, which I do have in my pocket, but I feel like I've already overused that item, and I definitely want to stop myself from using it again here. Anyway, let me quickly decorate the rest of this small area before I go back to the dark dirt path to add some pattern over there. Thankfully, I was able to craft another one of these deer scares, which I did actually customize as well. This time it is having a dark black brownish color. I think this one looks super nice. Maybe I'll be able to add the fence behind it. Alright, there we go. That does look good. Let me plant a couple more of these starters and add a couple of fence, at least at the beginning right here. Initially I went with the log fence. I guess I should have gone with the lace fence, which would look much better over there. But for now we are just gonna go with the log wall fence. Let's see what other item I do have in my pocket that I can actually use right here. I think most of these are items that won't actually fit in the small area, but if I can, I'll go ahead and use it. I do have this director's chair. Maybe I'll be able to place it right here. This was just a random item I just took out from my storage. I wasn't even really sure if I could actually use this chair, but it definitely does go well with the surrounding. Maybe I'll have it right there. If it does not look that good in the future, I'll go ahead and replace it with any of the log items that I do have. I think I'm almost done with decorating this path. Just a little bit more of these patterns to go. Now that we have completed this decoration, I might be able to pick up another area and decorate that as well, which I think is super exciting. Let's see which one we can actually pick out. Now I definitely do have to craft some more DIY recipes. as I don't really have enough. But I can definitely go ahead and plant a couple of trees and flowers around here and see how it actually goes. Before we do anything else, I did find a lost item. This is quite rare, so I'm just gonna see who it actually belongs to. Here we have Pashmina, so let's check with her first. And, ooh, alright, it actually is Kiki's, which is pretty surprising. I guess it's supposed to be expected, after all, it was quite close to his house. Usually if you do find a lost item bag and if it is quite closer to a villager's house, it definitely tends to belong to one of those villagers' house which is closer to it. That way you don't have to, I guess, lose some friendship points by talking to another villager. Right here, I got distracted once again. To be honest, this happens a lot for me when I'm playing this game. I was actually supposed to go to Kiki's house to give up the lost item, but I'm just doing everything else other than that. Right here, while jumping around, actually thought that maybe we could actually place a item here. Initially, I tried using the country fence and it really didn't look that great. But I did go with a cocoa tree in one side and country fence in the other. I think this one looks way better. Now that we are down here, I think I might be able to go ahead and decorate the smaller path over here. This path is mainly used to go to the, what I like to call, the hidden shore. I might be able to redecorate it in this episode just because we have enough time to do it. Let me quickly go ahead and add a couple of shrubs around the corners first and then go around adding more flowers or starters. I also definitely want to have a stone path that is going all around this cliff, but let's see how we can actually do that. As far as decorating this back part goes, I'm not really sure what I'm gonna do, but I definitely want to have a lot of trees at the end of the island here. Initially, I actually wanted to have a villager's house down here and not actually on top of that cliff where I have Kiki's house. But after I created the cliff itself, I felt that it would look good if we do have villager's house above and this area just here is completely empty. In this case, I decided to make another decision and I'm just gonna go ahead and terraform this cliff right here. I'm gonna add a bit more to it and make it much wider to cover up the entrance of the hidden shore. Now, as far as I remember, this is something I really had in my initial design, and in between when I was terraforming the cliffs, I actually I think forgotten about it, but we are actually going back to it, so I'm pretty happy. Since we do have quite a huge area here, I'm gonna go ahead and plant a lot of these pumpkin starters. I was lucky enough to actually have all of these in my pocket, so I'm able to go ahead and plant them. For the end, I went with the lace fence, which I think looks so much better now. The next thing I did was clear up the dark dirt path to add a stone path that leads to this pumpkin garden. I think I'm just going to call it that since we do have a lot of pumpkins over there. This is another reason why I really love this game. Just because you can go ahead, design, decorate an area, and if you don't like it, you can go ahead and redesign it and it will totally look completely different. Anyway, here we are. I think we just have to add another one and there we go. I might be able to add another item here, but even if I do add it, it wouldn't really make that much of a difference. So I just went ahead with another fence. But now that we have that completed, I think I can finally go ahead and focus on this path itself. By the way, I have not yet given up the item to Kiki, which is something I still have to do. I'm still kind of so into decorating at this point that I've totally forgotten about it. In any case, if you do not see me actually giving that item to Kiki, don't worry, I'll actually do that offline. Sometimes I do have all of these items that I do pick up, which I might have to give to another villager. I totally forget to kind of record it when I'm actually playing the game, and I remember it offline, so I go ahead and complete it offline as well. Anyway, I'm just gonna go ahead and add a lot of stone path around here. This cliff that you're seeing in the left side, the thinner one, it was not in my initial design, as I actually wanted to expand the cliff from the right side until it came up to there. But unfortunately, I was not able to do that, and it didn't really work out that well. So I'm just having this extra cliff right here, which, by the way, I think looks way better than my initial design. Anyway, we do have a couple more stone path to put from here. I actually went back to the front of the path, and I'm going towards the other path which I have already placed. This actually helps me kind of visualize it and place the path as I need it right there. I think in this view the game actually looks super nice. Unfortunately, you actually don't get to see the game in this higher view, which I really wish we could. Sometimes there are items that do get kind of hidden, and if you do have this top view, it's so much easier to actually see it. Right here we have two more spaces. I'm just gonna go ahead and fill it. There we go. That is the path on the right side. I also want to go ahead and place a path on the left side as well, which I think I'll go ahead and do in this episode. As for the path that is going to the kind of left side right here, which you might have seen, I think I'll go ahead and cover it up in the next episode. It's quite a huge path that goes all the way to the ocean in the left side. So definitely have a lot of decoration to do over there. As for today, we are just going to go ahead and cover this path up right here. This is just another connection to, I think, Pashmina's house. In case if you are kind of going through the path in a lower part. At this point, it might look like I have way too many different paths that are going to the same two cliffs. But each of them do give a different perspective when you're trying to take a photo or trying to actually walk through it in this game itself. I think that is the beauty of this game. No matter how many paths you have right close to each other, because of the way the cliffs are being created, it actually looks way different. Alright, let me go ahead and add a couple more of these starters. Unfortunately, at this point, I have actually run out of flowers, which is definitely something I could use here in substitution to these starters. I'm thinking of just coming back offline after buying more flowers and then replacing it with these starters. Anyway, I think that is all on decoration for this episode. We've definitely gone ahead and created this really cool path right here. And I'm pretty happy with how it actually looks right now. I definitely have to go back and craft more DIY recipe items though. I'm actually running out of most of them and definitely need to have more of them to decorate the other parts. Right here, I did remember that I had to give an item to Kiki. So I did come back to his house. But as you can see, I'm more focused on the items around the house itself, rather than going and giving the item. Anyway, let's do that. Let's give him the item before we end out this episode. There we go. This is the last item. And it is... Ooh, alright. We do get a business coat, which is pretty cool. Definitely something I could actually use as an outfit. Anyway, that's all I had for this episode. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, please like and subscribe to my channel. If you'd like to support me more on Patreon, check out the links in my description. And I'll see you guys in the next one.